said to me, "A lot of these songs are about me, huh?" And I said, "Well, aren't you just so flattered that you have been such an incredible inspiration to me my whole life?"
Hi, and welcome to SpeakEasy. I'm Jana Lynn White. If you listen to rock music in the 70s and 80s, her sound and her image are probably burned into your brain. That's because Fleetwood Mac were international superstars, and their lead singer, Stevie Nicks, was the it girl of rock and roll. Her solo career has been equally stellar, starting with the release of Belladonna in 1981 and continuing with the current release in 2001 of Trouble in Shangri-La. Critics have called Stevie's new album a triumph of resurgent creativity. Is that what it feels like to you? Does it feel like a resurgence of creativity?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah?
Very much.
What prompted that?
Well, I don't know. It reminds me a little bit more of Belladonna. And I think because I really spent between 1975 and 1981 collecting the songs for Belladonna, even though I was totally working with Fleetwood Mac all that time, but I was collecting those songs. So this has been a real collection of the right songs for this record. And they're all right. I mean, they're all the right ones, the ones I wanted. So that, creatively, this has been a great thing for me. It's been a great creative journey.
Imagine all the ways to cope. I close my eyes, that gives me hope. It cures the silence.
This is one of the classic phone calls where you're sitting around, and I was working with this band, and the phone rings, and it's oh, please hold for Stevie Nicks. And you kind of go, yeah, right.
It's her.
And she goes, you know, if you send me the instrumental and a lyric, I'll put my vocal on it. And I said, if you want, you can come over to my house and we could put a vocal on it together. You just let me know when's good for you. And she said, okay.
I'll be there in an hour.
Well, Stevie time.
Now, this has been not only a creative fulfillment for you, but new creative alliances were formed. And I'm thinking now of Sheryl Crow.
Right.
And you got together a couple years ago when they asked you to do 2 songs for Practical Magic. And
right.
Obviously it worked so well, you did it again.
Right. Sheryl came into my life, though, over a movie called Boys on the Side, which was probably 5 or 6 years ago. That's how I met her.
Really?
And I did one of her songs on this on that album soundtrack. When I first met Sheryl, I don't think I asked her to produce my record, but we did, you know, we really talked a lot about music and stuff. The next time I saw her was probably a year later, and that time I really said, would you be interested in producing this record?
That's a big milestone for not only...
Both of us,
yeah.
And women.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
It is. It's huge.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful because it's born out of mutual respect.
Right, right. Sheryl is... I mean, I think that when I asked Sheryl, you know, you want to produce this whole record, she was like, ooh, that's a lot, you know, that's a big responsibility. But she totally got into it. She totally got behind it, and she was really there for me.
The thing that really affected me the night before I got up and wrote the song was that Stevie was talking about today, right now, the ultimate relationship. When I woke up the next morning, I thought, how incredible that here is this extremely strong woman who everybody knows, and she's had relationships with the most fantastic people, and she's not bitter, she's not cynical in the least. And I sat down and wrote a song about somebody who says, it's only love, ah, but if only love comes around again, it will have been worth the ride. It's only love, ah, if only love comes round again, it will have been worth the ride.
She's really my good friend now. You know, we've gone way beyond now just this record. We are really good friends, and even if we never did any music again, we will always be really good friends because of this.
That's a wonderful legacy
Yes,
to have
it is.
that, because that's the greater treasure.
Yes, it really is the greater treasure.
And the days go by, doing nothing about them. How much time will I have spent?
Tom Petty gave you a little bit of tough love. You've known him for a long time. You started working with him on one of his albums, I think 1979, 1980. And then he wrote a duet for his album that he didn't use.
That he didn't use, yeah.
And you snapped it up
Right.
for Belladonna. But what was the tough love that he gave you about your own creativity, since we're on the theme of creativity?
He basically, he came to the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Phoenix, Arizona, and they were playing the next night. And I live in Phoenix, so I went down and had dinner with him, and I didn't ask him to write a song for me. I asked him if when he got back to LA, maybe he might work with me on something, basically. And I think Tom took that as a real red flag, like a flag of, you know, something's really wrong here. And so he basically said to me, you know, in all the years I've known you, I don't really think that you ever have asked me to help you write a song. You've asked me to sing, you've asked me to be on your records, but you've never really said, I need you to help me write a song. And he said, and I think that that's really not cool, Stevie, because you are a songwriter, that's what you do. And, you know, that's why you didn't get married, that's why you don't have kids, that's why you're not tied down, was so you could be a songwriter, and, you know, that was what you wanted to do.
Tom is really a rock and roller, right? And I get to really be a part of a real serious rock and roll band that isn't Fleetwood Mac. And very few people get to be a part of another rock and roll band. And it's all men, and they are very supportive of me, and they really let me walk on their stage, and they really give it to me. And it's amazing. It's like kind of the biggest date you ever went on in your life. You fly through the night to get to a city to do those two songs with Tom Petty, and it's really one of the most exciting things that I've ever experienced. That's why I would never, you know, call Tom up and say, can I come out on this one, or can I do that, because I wait and I let him call me, and then when I'm there, I know that they want me to be there, and I didn't invite myself.
Tom has been my friend for so long that when he says something to me, I know he would never say anything to me if he didn't really mean it, and I know he always has my best at heart. So when he said, you know, you just need to get in your car, go back to your house, and write a song, Stevie. It's, you know, I know that you have things that you've been, you know, not happy about for a long time, and those things are getting in your way. So give that up, let that go, and go forward here, because we just reinvent ourselves. That's what we do as rock musicians and singers, you know. So just go do that. And I took it from him. I did. And I went home and I did it. I did start writing songs that night. I don't think I actually wrote a song that night, but I absolutely went home and spent some time at the piano and felt good about it.
Start to think about what you wanted. It's all